The average slice of bread weighs about 60 grams. Knowing that, do you think that you could picture what 100,000 tons of bread might look like? Probably not, because that's a staggeringly large amount, but I think that for as difficult as it is to visualize, it's still very important to try. And that's because this is the amount of bread that we lose every year on a global scale due to mold. This takes a colossal toll on the environment, and it wastes the time, money, and labor of both producers and consumers. But unfortunately, bread is just a naturally great environment for mold growth. It has a neutral pH and a high water content, both things that molds love, and there are limited amounts of preservatives that we are allowed to add to our food or even want to add to our food to protect it. But what if there was a more natural way to extend the shelf life of bread using only 3 ingredients? Some of you might be familiar with the term sourdough. Sourdough bread baking has become increasingly popular in the last few years, especially towards the tail end of the pandemic, and that's in part because it's so simple. To make a sourdough, all you need is flour, water, and time. When you mix flour and water together and you leave them for a while, beneficial bacteria start to grow there, and as they grow, they ferment the flour. This produces a lot of different compounds, many of which have been proven to stop or slow down mold growth significantly. The most important of these compounds are the acids, and if you've ever eaten a sourdough bread, this is what gives it the gentle, tangy taste and smell that it's named for. You see, when you mix sourdough in with a bread dough, all those acids and compounds are mixed in with it, and they stay in the bread, where they can continue to prevent mold from growing. My thesis is about understanding sourdough, how we can influence the bacteria inside it to make more of these mold-preventing acids, and use that information to make long-lasting breads with fewer preservatives added to them. While most research on this topic tends to focus really just on the start and the end of the bread making process, so just the sourdough and the final loaf, what I've been doing is tracking how amounts of these acids and other important products of fermentation change throughout the entire process, step by step, hour by hour, start to finish. On top of that, I've also been testing different fermentation conditions and species of bacteria, aiming to find combinations that best delay mold growth in real-life trials. By looking at the entire scope of bread making and not just the start and the end, I aim to provide a baseline understanding of what these bacteria do under different conditions, and therefore how we can change their environments to encourage them to produce the types of bread that we want. My work is important because if we can understand how different factors in sourdough influence the bacteria that live inside it, then we can use that information to make bread that will contain fewer preservatives and still resist mold, decreasing the amount of food and resources that we lose to spoilage every day. Thank you very much.